Happy New Year! Some people already in the New Year, some people celebrating tonight. Be safe, don't be dumb, do good things, don't drink and drive. Don't drink till you're sick. Pet a dog. So Bitcoin on the daily time frame just had a bear break. 4 hour was very tight and it had a bear break. So now looking down at the daily higher low. So the daily higher low is 35.67. If this level breaks, we don't have any support until the low 31.29. We can absolutely start the new year of 2019 with bear breaks in cryptocurrency. Again, I know bulls don't want that to happen, but just be fully aware that it's entirely possible that we drop to lower lows in January 2019. Until we change this daily trend, that's entirely possible. So at this point right now, we don't have much space at all between this daily higher low and where we stand right now on Bitcoin. Other names that we're about to look at have a lot more space to work with, and so they're a bit more comfortable with, trying to hold that daily higher low. But where we stand right now on this daily time frame, it's pretty much between this range, which we have been trading within at this point for 6 days, and it's 35.67 support and 39.72 resistance. Until one of these levels breaks, I have absolutely no interest in what cryptocurrency or Bitcoin is doing because that range is so clear and so tight. Ethereum on the daily is an equilibrium setting up. So when we formed our daily higher low, we looked at the chart and measured and said, all right, we've pulled back very significantly from this high. The most likely scenario now is that when we bounce, we're likely to form a lower high because at this point we would need to see essentially a 35% plus bounce to see just straight continuation. So we got the daily lower high. Now we're looking for another daily higher low to form compared to 116.30. Again, look how much space we have compared to that level. We have over 10%, more like 15% before we get to that support level. And we look at Bitcoin, and Bitcoin only has about less than 2% until we get to that support level. So a lot more space to work with to form this daily equilibrium. Bulls are going to potentially be bottom fishing the support level of 116.30 if we get closer and drop down into the mid 120s, looking for that daily higher low to form to remain in the tightening range. But as of right now, zooming in, we can see Bitcoin just broke this 4 hour support, and looking at Ethereum, 4 hour support broke as well, but not nearly as significantly. So yet again, Ethereum continues to hold up compared to Bitcoin, and looking at it, ETH BTC on Coinbase, daily time frame, we had our higher low on the daily, double top, and now just inside bars. If it breaks, we're going to have to pull back and form a higher low, and it's going to be a daily equilibrium, just like Ethereum is currently a daily equilibrium. But again, bottom line is Ethereum consistently in the past 2 weeks plus has shown us that it is stronger than Bitcoin. Litecoin on the daily time frame, so we have the same setup with our top of the bounce seen on the daily time frame, low of consolidation, lower high, and now we're heading down to the higher low, or attempting the higher low. 27.48 is the must-hold support level, and where we stand right now, we have about 8% of space to work with where we can still form a daily higher low. So if we're looking at who has the most space to form the daily higher low, so far it's Ethereum, Litecoin has the second most, Bitcoin has the least. So looking for the higher low to form, a 4 hour trend change on Ethereum and Litecoin will be an indication that the daily higher low has been established and that the daily equilibrium is going to continue to tighten. XRP on the daily time frame, also similar with our high, low the pullback, lower high was set on the daily, and now we need a higher low compared to 338. We have a decent amount of space to work with, roughly in line with Litecoin, and have to hold this level and change the 4 hour trend. We just had a 4 hour bear break, actually occurred a couple candlesticks ago, but following through this previous candlestick. So the bottom line is tightening daily patterns remain, and this was the most likely scenario that we were looking at. In a video maybe 4 or 5 days ago, we were looking at the most likely scenario being a tightening daily range, and me saying I have no interest in trading in this tightening daily range until we get clear breaks. So I'm liking the setups on Ethereum and Litecoin better for clarity, just because the potential for that higher low and equilibrium is there, and it would be a great way to start off 2019 with a daily equilibrium break sometime within the first few days. Binance is standing out for its strength as well, bucking the trend a little bit with correlations, and this is due to probably some news here we'll look at in just a second, but high of the bounce, higher low. This is where most names form their lower high and are now pulling back, but Binance is seeing continuation here. So 624 and 647 are our resistances, and most important short-term support is 555 And again, the amount of space that we have to work with here before we would break 510 support, we're currently at 20% above that support level. So Binance standing out as a lead bull, and it's here, this Binance trading competition, probably a factor to do with it. Essentially what they're doing is just trying to promote liquidity on their exchanges. It's not, who has the biggest gains that gets rewards. It's who trades the most Binance back and forth. They are trying to give prizes to encourage liquidity. I talked about liquidity in the cryptocurrency space being one of the reasons that we're getting so many fake outs where, in stocks we have trillions of dollars and it's a lot harder to see clear fake outs, bull breaks into 6% dumps because of the lack of liquidity and the lack of volume on the order books. There's also rumors going around, mostly in Asia, but that these exchanges are falsifying their volume, so to speak, with wash trading. I don't doubt that in the slightest. If you could see the statistics of some of these exchanges with the volume that they were seeing at the end of 2017 compared to the volume they're seeing right now, it would be probably an 80 to 85% reduction, just making that number up. But I would imagine it would be over 80% reduction in trading volume from 1 year ago to where we are right now. So that's, very notable. And if your exchange doesn't have volume on it, it's going to wither up and die. So by creating false volume, that is probably rampant in this space right now. We have the Bakkt exchange to continue to keep an eye on. They put out a statement recently, I believe yesterday. Honestly, I'm disappointed in Bakkt. I can remember the video that I made months and months ago when we first heard about it, and they put their first date out there. I believe it was November 2018. And I said, man, if you just got to hit that deadline. And obviously they have not, and they're kicking the can down the road. And that's just worst case scenario in terms of, a lack of you could see it coming a mile away in terms of companies just not being able to hit timelines in this underdeveloped space right now. And you see it in, low cap stocks as well. They miss their timelines all the time. But bottom line is we're in a daily tightening range and we're in a weekly downtrend. Long-term perspective, still absolutely bearish. Will the weekly trend change in 2019? I absolutely believe so. I have no idea how much follow-through we'll get on that weekly trend change, but that's something I'm keeping a patient eye out for. So again, be safe out there. Happy New Year. We'll see what 2019 brings. One thing I can very confidently say is that it will not be as bad a year for crypto bulls as 2018 was. If it were, we were going to drop down to triple digits on Bitcoin. So hang in there and be patient and sit there and wait. Just like I'm doing with, actually one more point I wanted to make. Talk about waiting on the trend of the weekly, change of the weekly trend. And someone commented saying, well, don't we already miss the move if we wait for that trend to take place, that trend change? And the answer is no. And we did this exact same thing with Canadian MJ back in 2017. And we saw this significant breakout and then significant consolidation. So look at how many weeks in a row we pulled back here with Canadian MJ being the next big thing and all this hype, yet we lose 50% in just about 4 or 5 months of trading. We patiently waited for a trend change on the weekly time frame at this point. I said I have no interest in Canadian MJ until we change the weekly trend. We hit the low at 490, we hit the high at 667, we consolidated and formed another base of support, and then we broke bullish and change this weekly trend. And if you wanted to be even more patient, you waited for this key break. So a higher low and a higher high, very clear here. This little higher low, not as clear. So let's use the higher example. If you made a bull entry on the break of 463 on the weekly trend change being confirmed, you saw you didn't get the bottom by 50%. A 50% bounce had already occurred without you, but you entered 763, and next thing you know, a year and a half later, the price runs up to $59. So essentially, you have the potential of, 800% gains. So that's something similar that we're watching for the potential of in the cryptocurrency space. If the weekly trend were to change on Bitcoin, again, you might miss, 50% off the bottom, but if we run up to $10,000, that's potentially a 200% gain. So certainly still worth it at that point. So longer term trends aren't going to nail the bottom, but they're going to shift the momentum and have the odds in your favor of playing with the trend and ideally being profitable in your trade right away and, riding into that strength. So that's something we're keeping an eye out for. USMJ, don't lose sight on that. Keep capital around for USMJ. I don't know if it'll be 2019, 2021. Who knows? But there's going to be massive opportunity to the tune of hundreds of percent in the USMJ sector at some point in the next couple of years. And I have a fat pile of capital just waiting for that. So we know things are going to be happening in that space longer term. All signs point to it. And again, it's just a patient game and preserving capital and adding to capital while we wait. Get your hustle on. I was selling paintings on eBay. I was doing yard work. I was doing all kinds of things to gain capital, trading, playing poker. All my poker winnings went into my stock accounts. That's how I accrued capital to capitalize on opportunities. And that's what I'm doing for USMJ and cryptocurrency whenever the weekly trend changes. So we'll see you soon. Thanks again. Trader tip 6,487, get some plants around your trading space. They can lively up the space. They can give some oxygen, purify the air. They'll be your friends. They don't require a whole lot of attention. I just stick them on a mat here and I slide them around with the sun as it goes through across the sky. Get some plants.